Okay. That first function right there. Which one of those little letters is that? I put this over here just in case you wanted to sketch these. Which one is big A? Lil B. Nice job. What one's big B? Pardon me? That's what it says. It says match each characteristic with the correct quadratic function. Sophie, this or this? Sadly, that will be lost because there's no actual video, and I didn't actually record the whole thing about the 100. But you know what I meant. So if you watch this video, you can be like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh, wait a minute, he was doing it to me. It was still pretty funny. Where's my red dot? There it is. So that one was D. You might as well finish, Priyanka, because I don't hear anybody else talking. And we know Sophie didn't do it right. So, what with those complicated instructions and all? What's C, Sophie?
I don't know.
Oh, right. What's C, Priyanka? It's A, and that, of course, makes that C. Does anybody not know why or need Y explained to you for any of those? Going once. Going twice. Going thrice. Sweet. So we're going to sketch 3 possible graphs. Please notice the word says possible. Why does it say possible? Because, for example, A, the only stuff you know about it is the vertex, right? So does it matter how far you stretch it upwards? No, because the only thing you know is the vertex. So the vertex for A is at x is -2, and y's have to be less than +4. So the vertex is at -2, +4. And other than that, does it matter? Which way does it go, up or down? Down, because the range is less than or equal to 4. So as long as your parabola goes down like that, you're good. Can it go down like this? That narrow? Yes. Could it go down like this? Yes, because the only stuff you know is that vertex. Everybody cool? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Excellent. What about B? That was A. So let's do B. We'll do B down here. Where does B go? Where, Burke? You can say it out loud, buddy. There's 30 other people in here and nobody else is saying it. I give you extra credit for even trying to say it, even if you were right or wrong. You're already higher in my esteem than the other 29 kids in the room. Over 3. 1, 2, 3. Up 2. Excellent. Because the axis of symmetry is at 3. And the range has to hit 2. Y is greater than 2. So does it open up or down? Up. Excellent. There we go. And C opens upward. Vertex at 1, -3. Now this one is tricky because you had to do something special. What? He waited patiently. There's an x-intercept of 1, 2, 3, 0, which means there is another point that this has to go through if I was marking this for you to get free mark, the full marks. What is that other point? Pardon me? -2, 0, -2, 0, -1, 0. because it was 2 away from here, so it has to be 2 away from there. All right. Moving on up to the east side. You guys don't get that joke because you've never seen that show, even though it might be on Netflix. The Jeffersons. It's from the 70s. It's about a black family who owns a laundromat, but the guy's really good with his money, and he turns the laundromat into an empire of laundromats, so he has a ton of money. So he moves in New York to the area of New York City where really rich people live, and most really rich people in New York in the 70s were white, and he was black. So in the 1970s, that was quite a cutting-edge and risque comedy. It's not anymore, but back then it was like, holy crap. So, anyway, another story for another day. Some of your parents might have watched that show, because some of your parents are my age. Some of your grandparents might have watched that show. Ugh. All right. What do I need here? I need the vertex. I need the axis of symmetry. I need the roots. Who's willing to tell me one of those things? And I need the y-int. Who is willing to tell me one of those things? So do I need anything else? Oh, the domain and range as well. Jeez, the domain and range. Who's willing to tell me one of those things? I know it's Monday morning, but on Tuesday morning you're writing a test on this. So hopefully somebody... Akshay? The vertex is -4, -3. Nice. Well done, buddy. What's the axis of symmetry? X equals -4. Nice, we're on a roll. What are the roots? That's a little bit of a challenge. Where do the roots exist? The x-intercepts. Where do x-intercepts exist? When y equals 0. So that would be 0 equals x plus 4 squared minus 3. So 3 equals x plus 4 squared. So the plus or minus the square root of 3 equals x plus 4. So -4 plus or minus the square root of 3 equals x. So that is the roots. -4 plus or minus the square root of 3. And what is the y-intercept? -3? No. The y-intercept exists where? I know what you're thinking. It's where x is 0. And sometimes it's the number that's out by itself. But where x is 0, you get y equals x is 0, 0 plus 4 squared minus 3. 0 plus 4 squared is 4. 4 squared is 16 minus 3. So y equals 13. What is the domain? What's the domain of every parabola? What x values can I put in there? He waited patiently. He took a sip of his coffee to pass the uncomfortable silence, while he waited for the 30 people that he taught this to give him an answer, because they have a test on it the very next day. Cool.
Which one's the set of real numbers? The domain or range?
Domain. Yes. Domain is all real numbers, because you can take every single number, add 4 to it, square it, and take away 3. What is the range? I'll help you out. Y must be greater than or less than, or greater than and equal to, or less than and equal to something. Greater than -3. Can it equal -3? Yes. Greater than or equal to -3, because that's your vertex. Whoo! That wasn't difficult to get answers for. Vertex, symmetry, roots, Y-int, domain, and range. I'm not even going to bother with domain anymore because it's always all real numbers. Except when? When do you have to worry about domain? Pardon me? In real life, there are, very rarely are there negatives. Excellent. But these are not real life. These are quadratic functions, so therefore every one of them will have a domain of all real numbers. Great. What's the vertex in, oh wait, I've gone over to C like an idiot instead of down to B. Is that okay with everyone? Of course it is. Great. What's the vertex for C? Two and -6. You're right on the -6. 0 and -6. What's the axis of symmetry? Yep. What are the roots? The roots are where what? Y equals 0. Oh, cool. Sorry. There are no roots. Well done. Because the vertex is where? Down. And the parabola opens down. Nice. So what's the Y-intercept? Right. You guys are on fire. Anything else there? I still need one more thing. The range, what is it? Y is less than or equal to -6. Sweet. Let us move on to B. Cabbages. B, we will do in green when my computer allows me to do so. I need a vertex. I need a line of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. I need roots. I need a Y-int. And I need a range. Who has one of those things for me? 2, 1. All right. Axis of symmetry. X equals 2. Roots. Or the Y-intercept. I'll take either. Whatever you got. Or the range. I'll take anything. I'm so happy. Y is less than or equal to 2. 1, the Y value, and it's negative. Excellent. Great. Roots or Y-intercept. Somebody should be able to tell me this. Pardon? 1, 0, and 3. Yes, okay. So the roots are 3 and 1. Excellent. And what's the Y-intercept? -3. Quick check. Yep. Nice. Without even me having to show any work. And finally, vertex, symmetry, roots, Y-int, and range for the last guy. Anybody got any of them for me? Nice. Axis symmetry. X equals, oh, that's nice. I think I'm going to try restarting the program. Because, you know, I did ask it to do a lot, like its job. Vertex was -8, 6, axis of symmetry, x equaled -8. Roots, no roots. Why? It's above the x-axis, and it opens up. So no roots. What's the y-intercept? 38. And what's the range? Y must be greater than or equal to 6. Whoo! Yo! Roots are the x-intercepts. Yep. As always, in every type of graphing, lines, cubics, quadratics, everything. Rewrite each of these in this form, which means you have two options. What are your two options? You can either do Max's favorite move, which is starts with a C, ends with an E, has complete the square in the middle of it. Complete the square, yes. Or you can do the other one, which is Vx equals, I can't remember because I never use it. -2a, -b, what is it? I don't even remember. -b over 2a, right? -b over 2a, and then you take that answer, because it's an x, and you sub it back in. I don't care which way you do it. I shouldn't have to show you the vertex x way, because that's just algebra. But if you need to see completing the square, I could show you that. Does anybody have the answer for me for number 4? What does y equal? Pardon? Y equals, Megan, go.
X minus 5 by x plus 5 plus 7.
Yes, x plus minus 5 squared plus 7. Plus 7? Minus 7. And what does that mean? How far is it moved from the original parabola? It moved 5 that way and 7 down. Does everybody understand what that question is asking? Right? Because a regular parabola goes right there. Over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 9. This parabola has moved 5 that way and down there. Gouda? Awesome. I'm not going to screw this up and embarrass myself by making it look like I don't know the alphabet. And I'm going to go to B down here instead of going over to C. Who's got an answer for B for me? What indeed does y equal? And once again, as always, if you do not understand how I got the answer, what are you supposed to do? Ask me. If you don't ask me and you got the wrong answer, that means two things. 1, you don't know how to find the right answer. And 2, you don't know how to go about finding how to find out the right answer. If, of course, you plan to go and watch YouTube videos, not of me, but you could watch them of me from in the past, then that's great. So, what is B? X plus 2 squared plus 3. You are almost right. Negative 3. Yep. And what else? Negative x plus 2 squared minus 3. Which means, where did it move? The original started right there. Where did it move? How far did it move left? To left. How far did it go up or down? Three down. Anything else change? From the original one that looks like that? Yeah, it opens downwards. Nice. What about C? C is a little tricky. What makes C tricky? There's a 3 in front of it, so completing the square is a little dodgy, yeah? You got to remember, what do you got to remember to do if you're going to try to complete the square? You got to factor that 3 out of there, because you can only complete the square when x is squared, right? So what's the answer? Y equals... I heard someone say 3. X plus 1. I have x minus 1. Because you need a negative there, right? So when you factor that, it's got to be x minus 1 squared. And then plus what? Two. All right. And where did it move? 1 right and up 2. Excellent. Anything else weird about this one? Anything else weird about this one? Yeah, it goes 1 up, 3, 2 up, 12, 3 up, 27. It's got a stretch. I'm writing stretch wrong because it's not coming up on the screen. And I forget what letter I got to. Let's see. Oh, nice. Stretch. Hey, Yoon, why you laugh at me? It wasn't writing. Stretch of 3. A great many are still having problems with what that means. Do you all know what that means? What if it was stretch of a half? When I went over 2, how far up would I go? I should go over 2 and up 4, but if the stretch factor is a half, I go over 2 and I go up 2. Good. Oh, look, one with that problem indeed. How do I do D? If you're going to complete the square, what don't you like about that? You don't like that fraction, so you got to factor it out, right? If I take a quarter out, what do I get there? What is 4 divided by a quarter? No, that's 4 times a quarter. What is 4 divided by a quarter? No, that's 4 times a quarter. No. 4 divided by a quarter. There is 1, yes? It is 16, thank you. So if you were going to complete the square on D, you would have done this after your computer allowed you to erase what you wrote that was going to be used to explain why 4 divided by a quarter is 16. You would take out the quarter and you would be left with x squared plus 16x. Then, of course, you would half that and square it to be plus 64, and you would work from there. But the answer is y equals 1/4 x plus 8 squared plus 4. So the graph moved left 8, up 4, and it had a stretch of 1/4. So when it went over 4, how far up did it go? 4, because it should have gone up 16, but it's going up in 1/4 of that. Nice. Some calculator practice, A, B, and C. What is the maximum height reached by the arrow? And B was the time. Oh, from what height was the arrow shot? And C was the time. Who has one of those answers for me? And a better question is who needs to see again how to do that on a calculator? So what do I punch in there? I punch in my equation. Negative 5x, because x is the variable, yes? Squared plus 20 plus 2. Then I graph it. Now it fits on my graph, doesn't it? Right? Okay. Negative 5t squared. Negative 5. Oh, I forgot the second x. X plus 2. Now, still fits on my graph, right? Okay, so what is the maximum height reached by the arrow? Where on this graph is our maximum? Second calc. What do I need? 4. Where is it? Right there. So I go to the left of it. Am I left of the peak? Yes. And I go to the right of the peak. Am I right of the peak? Yes. So I guess. And I get 22 meters. From what height was the arrow shot? The arrow is shot at what point on the x-axis? At what time? 0, right? So if I go second calc, value, x equals what? 0. Enter. What's y? 2. 2 meters. And C, how long did it take to hit the ground? Where is it when it hits the ground? It's out here, right? So what is that? Second calc. Which one of those? It's the 0, isn't it? Because it's the x-intercept, right? So, same way I find the maximum. I bring my cursor over. Oops, I hit it too many times. Still counting. Still counting. Stop. My computer seems to be stuck. The arrow is now 3,000 meters underground. And digging fast. 5 kilometers underground. 6 kilometers underground. 7 kilometers underground. At any rate, the answer is 4 seconds. And of course, you find that by doing second calc 0. There, enter. Now I'm on the other side of it, enter, enter. 4.09. So nearest second, 4 seconds. And I think that's the only calculator one I gave you. Factoring shouldn't be a problem. 3x plus 4, 3x minus 2, 7x plus 9, x plus 3. Does anybody need to see how to do that? Or do people remember? Going once, twice. You want to see it? Okay. What do you notice about Microsoft Surface Pro 4s? That they don't work very well? Good, you guys have been paying attention. If this were a class in finance, would any of you buy a Microsoft Surface Pro? Just making sure. All of you will notice that those are the same, yes? So if you substitute it and it becomes 2a squared plus 11a plus 14, it becomes very easy to factor because you need to multiply to 28 and add to 11. What is it? Because remember, you got to do 2 times 14. So what are the factors of 28 that add to 11? 7 and 4. So it's a plus 7 over what? 2, and then it's a plus 4 over what? 2. Then you simplify to get actually I screwed this up when I wrote my answers. It's the other way around. There we go. Where does the 2 go? To the front. So it's 2a plus 7, a plus 2. What's a? X plus 1, right? So 2 times x plus 1. What is that? 2x plus 2 plus 7. 2x plus 9. And that is x plus 1 plus 2, which is x plus 3. So it was 2x plus 9. I wrote 7x because I took the 7 to the front. Sorry. But that is the right answer. So if you did it right, but you had something different than me and you thought that I did it right, I didn't. I made a mistake, but it's fixed now. I'm going across like an idiot again. This one is, what do you notice about that, and that? It's a difference of squares, isn't it? Square root of the first one minus square root of the second one, plot times square root of the first one plus square root of the second one, right? But you also, so this is different than that, isn't it? So can you do A and A? No. If you did that substitute thing, you would have to do A and B, right? Which would be 3A plus 2B and then 3a minus 2b. Then you would resub. So 3 times a, 3a, that's a, is what? 3 times a is 9a. I can't be bothered because it's frozen. There we go. The answer is 17a minus b and a plus 7b. This one is 4r minus 9s, 4r plus 9s. This one is a little bit tricky. It's xy plus 4, xy minus 9. And this one is 11r plus 20, 11r minus 20. And this question, word problems, everybody's biggest weakness in both units. So really needs to be practiced. What do I need to do before I can do a word problem in math class? I better set it up, right? And setting it up in math class means getting an equation, right? So what are the things I am counting in number 7? I need 2 variables. What are they? What are the 2 things that you don't know? I don't know how many seats in a row, and I don't know how many rows, right? So is it all right to say rows equal R and seats equal S? Is that cool? Is everybody okay there? Everyone okay with that? Now, if I have 2 different variables, can I solve it? No. So this is not okay, but I know something about the seats, don't I? What do I know about the seats? The number of rows on the main floor is 4 more than the number of seats. So if the rows are R and there's 4 more rows than seats, what are the seats? What? R plus 4? R minus 4. So the seats are R minus 4, yes? Now, if there's 285 seats, then it's a rectangle, right? It's a theater, yeah? So each seat goes across there and rows down there, right? How do you find the area of something? Length times width. So this is the seats, and this is the rows, right? So what are the seats? R minus 4. What are the rows? R. Length times width equals what? Area. And what's the area of seats? 285. Solve it. R squared minus 4R equals 285. How do I solve that? R squared minus 4R minus 285 equals 0. And then you solve. What options do you have to solve that? Factor, calculator, graphing calculator, quadratic formula, complete the square, right? You've got all kinds of options. But when you do all that options, you find R equals 15. And what are seats? Sorry. R equals seats. You will find that R equals 19 and seats equal 15. Yo.
Could you do it with like seeds equals s and then rows equals s plus 4?
Yep. It would be the same thing. Now, how do I do the hot tub question? This one's super tricky. This is my favorite question in all of pre-calculus 11. Believe it or not. Because it's the one question that requires you to know the most math to do this question. You have to know a crap ton of math. And it's a good real life question because people put decks around hot tubs all the time. How else can you do a cannonball into your hot tub if you don't put a deck around it? Luke's like, yeah, right. Luke, you ever cannonballed into a hot tub? Yes, you have. Don't be that way. You're a football player. You've cannonballed into a hot tub. My buddy had a hot tub with this weird little dome thing at the bottom in the middle. And this other guy cannonballed into it and like broke 4 of his toes. I know, it was awesome. Because I was mad that the guy cannonballed into it. Because the only person that has any fun cannonballing into a hot tub is the guy doing the cannonball. Everybody else is like, man, you're a dick. Right? You guys with me? All the water gets out. You get water in your drinks. And it's hot tub water, which is like the grossest water in the whole world. It's like human soup. You ever looked at a hot tub the next day? Don't. I rented a hot tub for my sister's birthday party when she was like 13. She wanted a hot tub in our driveway. So I was like, yeah, I'll pay for that. No problem. Rented her a hot tub. They sat in the hot tub. Friends went home. I went out the next morning. It was disgusting. And they were only girls. It was gross. Fortunately, the hot tub guys have to clean it. That's part of paying the rental fee. Sweet deal. So, go. What did you have to do? Anybody. Anybody. I need to know the width of the deck. I need this number right here. Do I know that number right there? Do I know it? No. So what do I got to give it? Somehow my variable is going to be in there, isn't it? How? Yes, the black part is the deck. Souk ball. What do I have to use?
You got the area for the hot tub and the deck?
I have the area for the hot tub and the deck, don't I? Excellent. So, what does that mean?
Then I found the area of the hot tub minus by the full area.
So, you found the area of the hot tub. What's the area of the hot tub?
3.14.
Pi r squared, right? So the hot tub is pi times 1 squared, yes? Okay. What does that tell us? Pardon me? Yeah, okay. So what does that tell us? And what did you get for an answer? So you have the deck right here. Of being 3.9. 3.4. Okay. So, did you check your work? Because if that is the case, then that must mean that since the whole thing is 63.6, right? If this part is 3.4, how far is this part? 1, right? Right? Which means this whole red line would be 4.4, correct? Which would mean that 4.4 squared times pi would equal 63.6. Does it? It does, doesn't it? Right? Okay, so you're right, except the question is, how wide is the deck? So what do you have to do? Are you putting a deck over your tub? Right. So the deck is really, the whole thing is 3.5 because it's 3.49 or something. If you use 3.14, you're going to get 3.4. But if you use your pi button, it's like 3.49. Then you got to take out that 1 meter. So the deck is really 2.5. So if you did all that work and it was out of 4, what do you think I'd give you? But it's out of 4. What do you think I'd give you? I'd give you 3 out of 4. You only forgot to take out the 1. Now, do people want to see what he did there? Okay. So, Soupball knows that the whole thing, right? He knows that this right here is x, right? But he also knows that this right here is 1, right? So that whole radius is x plus 1, correct? He also knows that the whole area is 63.6, right? So he knows that pi times the radius squared equals 63.6, right? So he's got to get the x by itself, yeah? So he should have divided both sides by pi and gotten x plus 1 squared equaled 20.24. And then he square roots both sides, right? And he gets x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 20.24, right? But would it be minus? No. X plus 1 equals the square root of 20.24. And then what do you do with that number? X has to equal the square root of 20.24 minus 1. Right? And that gets you x equals 3.5. And the whole thing is 3.5, but I only need the x part, so I got to take out that 1. Got it? I sense we are not going to get to the rational expressions today, since it is already 9:10, and quadratics seems to have been a bigger undertaking than I was expecting. Silly me, I was expecting to just go, what's the answer, and have people say it. What would you do here? How are you going to solve that? How are you going to tell me what x equals there? Algebra, simple algebra. 3x squared equals 6. X squared equals 2. X equals plus or minus root 2. Excellent. How are you going to solve that one? Factor. That's s plus 7. I lie. That's x plus 5. S minus 7 equals 0. So s has to equal negative 5 or positive 7. What are you going to do with b? Factor again. That's m squared minus 15m plus 26 equals 0. So that's m minus 13, m minus 2. So m has to equal 13 or 2. And what about that one? You're going to quadratic it? Really? But 16 times 3 is 48. And 48 gives you factors of 48 and 1. But okay, you could quadratic it. Because could you not use quadratics for all four of them? Of course you could. When you do the quadratic equation, you find x equals negative 1/16 and 3. The discriminant is what? What part of the quadratic equation is the discriminant? So when you do that, you find this to be the square root of 24. How many roots? Two roots. And since nobody cares, one root. And since nobody cares, no roots.